look at this. So there's a current setup for this video. Got my markings, got my phone, got the tape on this, whatever this thing's called. It used to be like a night lamp, but now my little setup for this video. Hey, what's up everyone? So a lot of people have been asking me for years to make these more like 1090 and 1282 videos, but I've just been super busy and the only thing I've had time for is to be irritated and be at work all day. But now that I'm out, I have a lot more time to do things that I enjoy and just more time for everything else. So first things first, up here on top is where the LCS signs, and then one of the watch captains has to sign it right here, and then on turnover days the off-going watch captain signs right here. So LCS watch captain 1 and then watch captain 2 on turnover days, and then reviewed by would be your FSO. And then on your 1282, your requisition by is your watch captain, because they're the ones who are requesting the food, and then approved by would be your LCS, because you have to look through all of the stuff that you ordered, because sometimes people be ordering like stuff that's not necessary for the meal, or they might end up ordering like a ribeye roll and then taking it home for one of their little events. So I'm not gonna go over the whole 1090 because it's just too much stuff. I'm just gonna go over the main things. So first things first, you got your grab and go, which a lot of the times is just gonna be your head count, which is up here on this right hand corner. So the head count is something that the watch captain annotates, and to get this you're supposed to use a clicker. So either like a master at arms or like a FSA who isn't doing much is the one who gives the watch captain the number at the end of the meal to determine how many people actually went through the line. So let's just say it was like 150 for breakfast, 200 for lunch, and then 100 for dinner. So these are just all made up numbers. So that number you would put in these specific ones. So these are like as needed items. So grab and go is as needed, so you put 150. Beverages as needed, pastry bars as needed, what else, bread of course as needed, cereal hot instant, so that would be like your oatmeals and all that stuff. Regular cereal also as needed. So these are honestly the easiest ones to fill out, the as needed ones. Cereal again 150, cooked eggs, skip that for now. Bacon, and then your fruit bar is also as needed. Table condiments, so that's like ketchup, mustard, all that stuff. Let's start off with the eggs. So honestly, I think the egg is the most annoying one because there's 4 different kinds. What we did on my ship for the eggs was that we knew that there's a 90 portions per case, so we just split it up between all 4 of these to add up to the 90. So cooked eggs, let's just say it was like 30, so that was your hard-boiled eggs. Griddle fried eggs, let's do like 10, so that's already 40. And then you have about 25 left each, so let's just do 25 for scrambled and 25 for the omelet bar. Your 30 plus 10 plus 25 plus 25, so that equals to 90. So that's what you want for the egg. So I think that's the easiest way to split up your eggs and determine how much eggs you use for that specific meal. And then after that you have your portions left over, which is right here on this column. So your portions left over is pretty much how much was discarded. And for the cooked eggs, you could always do let's just do leftover 10 portions. So you write the number down, and then On this right side, the comments and disposition of leftovers is pretty much explaining what you did with the leftovers. So hard-boiled eggs, you could use them for like salad bar. So then you got your tab up here. You got your portions prepared and portions unprepared. So you would write it down under the one that says portions prepared because you cooked them. So 10 portions left over, so I would write used for salad bar, and then that would be a good explanation on what you did with the leftover if you didn't discard it. And then with these other ones, it's pretty much scrambled liquid eggs, so you are not able to reuse it for anything else. So let's just say that we discarded all of it. So let's say there was like, I don't know, maybe like 1 leftover egg, 3 scrambled, and then let's say 4 from the omelet bar. So with a griddle fried egg, you could actually save it and use it for something else, like a baking product or something, because that's a hard shell egg that you just crack, and it's supposed to be under ice anyway, so that would prevent it from going bad. So let's just put on the griddle fry egg that used for cake, and then these other 2 which were discarded, you would write discarded because you were not able to save that egg mixture. So for bacon, you're gonna look at your 1282. So you got 8 pounds that were issued out. So after you get that number, you're supposed to multiply by your conversion factor, which is on this line. So you got your 8 pounds of bacon, you multiply it by your conversion factor, which is 1, so it's just 8. So then you have 8, and then you're supposed to divide it by the pounds per 100, which is 4 in this case. And then your records keeper is the one who ends up putting in that number on FSM. So you get the amount that was issued, and then you divide it by 4, which is 2, multiplied by 100. So that's 200 portions of bacon. So with the 8 pounds that were issued, you can make 200 portions of bacon. And then the reason for that is because you're gonna look at your recipe card and it says 2 slices of bacon equal to 1 portion, which is honestly unrealistic, and that needs to be changed because nobody wants just 2 slices of bacon. That's why it's so many portions whenever you do the math. So with bacon, you could pretty much do the same thing similarly to the hard-boiled eggs. So leftover, let's say there was like, I don't know, 20 portions left over. Realistically, there's usually no bacon left over ever. So with this bacon, there's 20 portions left over, and on this last column, you could just put used for salad bar. So that's one good way to dispose of the bacon, and then that's really it for the breakfast ones. Now we could move on to a few items from lunch. So it's Taco Tuesday. So Taco Tuesday, you know, we're gonna have like literally the same things for the most part over and over again. So you're gonna some type of fajitas or ground beef, some Mexican or Spanish rice, refried beans, and some type of corn. So it's always gonna be the same stuff. Let's do the refried beans. All right, so you're gonna go on your 1282, and up here at top you got refried beans. So a lot of times there'll be times that you might request a specific amount and your GOD gives you something else because there's 6 packages in a case, so it's easier for them to just issue out the whole case instead of giving you the 5. So you requested 5, then your GOD issues the 6, return 0, and net is pretty much how much was used. And something that's good to make a habit of is putting on your perpetuals. So after you GOD issued out 6, so So they write this number down on this side, which pretty much says that they have 54 packages or containers of the specific item left over. It's just always good to keep track of how much left you have in your store for all these items. So after that, you get the number that was issued, and then you multiply by the conversion factor. 6 times 1.875, which equals 11.25. So that number you use and you divide it by the pounds per hundred on your 1090. So in this case, the pounds per hundred is 9.25. So divide that by 9.25 to determine how many portions that you can make with the 6 bags of refried beans. So in this case, I would just round up. So 1.21, so I would just say 122 portions of refried beans. So that's how much you made, and then that's something that your records keeper can adjust on FSM. Again, we had 100 portions, 122 portions that we prepared, and now we go on to this leftover portion. So let's say we just had 7 leftover. And then the comments prepared, I would put like 7 discarded, because you can't really save refried beans for anything else.
This cornbread's gonna have you questioning whether it's...
So we're gonna do the Mexican corn eggs. So again, you use the number that you were issued, which is 6 cans, and then you multiply it by your conversion factor. So 6 times 6.625. So that equals 39.75, and then you divide that number by the pounds per hundred that are on your 1090. So divide that by 35, which equals 1.1357. So I would round that up to 114. So you prepared 114 portions of the Mexican corn with the 6 cans that were issued out to you. And just like before, discarded. Determine how many portions were discarded by looking at your recipe card, and then annotate it, or leftover. So let's just say I don't know, 2 discarded. And then next I'm gonna do a main entree. I'm gonna end up doing the southwestern shrimp. So for these meats, you were issued 36 pounds, which is a case of shrimp. Conversion factor is just 1, so 36 times 1 is just 36. So then the 36, you would divide that by the conversion factor. So you got 36 divided by 20, which equals 1.8. So that's 180 portions of the shrimp pasta. And then do the same as earlier. As you could see, this one's empty. So you could either ask your records keeper or look it up on FSM, the recipe card, because your recipe card tells you how many pounds of a specific item you need to be able to create 100 portions. So your pounds per 100. So like this shrimp pasta, it tells you right here you need 20 pounds of the shrimp to be able to make 100 portions of the shrimp pasta. And it also tells you how much each portion is, which is 10 ounces. So you could use a ladle to serve this, a 10-ounce ladle if you have one. So on the last page of your rough 82, you got the signature blocks. So the first one would be issued by, which is your GOD, because they're the ones who issued out the food to the galley. Then you have the received by. So whenever your GOD finishes with the breakouts, they have to get the watch captain so they could both look to see all the things that were issued out and properly verify the breakouts. So after that, that's when the watch captain signs this part of the 1282, saying that they received all the things that they asked for to be able to prepare the meal for the next day. So at the end of the day, what you're supposed to do is return all the items you didn't use. So that would be the watch captain that signs this as well. So you could always make like a specific area in the galley and label it as returns, so you know not to touch that food. So return it to the GOD normally first thing in the morning, and then that's when your GOD would sign this received by and return all their unused food to their storeroom. And then this last part is your FSO normally. So they were supposed to sign this, but they never sign this on the rough copy because it's a rough. So after your records keeper fully inputs the 1282 onto FSM and it's approved by your LCS, they have to print off a smooth copy and then give it to the FSO for them to sign it, and then keep this 3 months and current. So I always like to keep it more than 3 months because sometimes FSM acts up, so I always like to keep it a little bit longer than needed. That's really it for this video. Thank you again for all the support and thanks for watching.